Hello, today we will learn about resource requests and how to create resource requests and the requirement of creating resource requests. So resource request basically is a creating a demand for upcoming resources under which who will be working against the project to make sure our deliverables. By creating resource requests in the system, we trigger the demand for consulting ops to make sure that we have a demand in our existing project or upcoming new project, and consulting ops need to staff those demands and to provide all those information related information for our staffable resources. We need to create a resource request where we populate all the information as per our requirements, so that consulting ops team members can go through all the requirements and then assign resources as per the requirement. While creating resource requests in system, we need to make sure few thumb rules. First and foremost important, we need to make sure when creating resource requests, the start date of that particular demand will always remain in the future, never in past or never in the present. It will always remain in future, so that consulting ops team members have proper lead time to staff those demands accordingly. Second thumb rule we need to consider while creating these resource requests is all those information we are populating or we are sharing with the help of resource requests are concise, short, and very much precise. Like for example, if we require a integration resource from offshore team, we need to make sure that we have accurate region for this offshore demand. We chose or populate accurate practice for this integration demand. And if we require any specific ETL tools, like for example MuleSoft, Jitterbit, or Delboomi, we need to make sure all those information will be populated while creating these resource requests, so that it will benefit consulting ops team member to staff these demands with proper lead time and with more accuracy against those demands. Now we will learn how to create resource requests in the system. So we can create resource requests with the help of LOE, which we can have the LOE from the opportunity, and more or less the LOEs will be a form of information it's created, usually it is created in the spreadsheets. And um, these LOEs have the complete view of the requirements upcoming resources requirement of upcoming resources, based on their skill set, based on their timelines, based on their bill rates, based on their overall total billable hours or non-billable hours or a goodwill hours. So we can create resource requests with the help of LOE. Or let's say for example we have a additional demand in our existing project. For example, we need two resources or one resource in our existing project. We can create those those demands and those resource requests in the system without LOE also. So to create the resource request in this system, we need to make sure that we go to the opportunity page of that particular project. And over here in this is the speed dial section, where we can have complete list of options available for that opportunity. And there's an option called resource request. We can click over here to create a new resource request. I'm taking this example where we have list of already have list of resource requests, and I'm going to create a new resource request for the additional requirement. So for an example, I'm going to create a resource request for a JDC resource, a offshore resource in for a developer with the skill set required. It's a let's say for example, I'm going to create a mobile offshore developer resources demand, and the skill set we require is, let's say, iOS developer. So I'll tell you how to create a resource request in the system. First and foremost important, we need to make sure that we are in the opportunity page, and then under resource request we need to click new resource request. Now it will lead us to a page where we have to populate all the information. So first and foremost important thing, we need to make sure that these red lines, vertical lines in before the text boxes are the mandatory fields which we need to populate while creating these resource requests. Now, this opportunity section and the opportunity information is auto-populated. As I mentioned, while creating resource requests, we need to make sure we create those resource requests under opportunity. Let's say if you're creating these resource requests at, under or from the project page, at that time, this opportunity text box will be blank, and this project text box will be populated with the project name. At that time, we need to make sure that we provide accurate opportunity name also and populate that name under this text box, or else it will create a error or a throw a error while saving this resource request. So we need to make sure that apart from these mandatory fields, we the opportunity text box is also populated with accurate opportunity name. Now, while creating a new resource request, we need to make sure that the status of this new resource request will remain in submitted mode. So why submitted mode? Because when this new resource request created in the system and we need to do any changes, let's say changes in the start date or changes in the end date or changes in the skill set, we need to make sure to have this status in submitted mode. Once the submitted mode changed from submitted to planning, we as a project manager cannot edit that particular resource request as per our requirement. So we need to make sure while creating these resource requests, it will remain with the status of submitted, so that if while saving or after saving, if you want to make any changes, we are only able to do that if the status is submitted. So now we'll start the process of creating a new resource request and populating all the informations. So as I mentioned earlier in my example, that I'm going to create a offshore JDC mobile resources demand in this for this particular opportunity, or let's say for this project. So first and foremost, I need to populate the information of that role. So what role will be required for this resource request? So in this case, I will choose the option of developer, and then I need to provide information about the requested hour. Now we will populate requested hours.